Peppa plays football. It's a sunny day and Peppa and Susie Sheep are playing tennis. To you, Susie, cheers Peppa, hitting the ball. Now it's Susie's turn. To you, Peppa, she cries, hitting the ball straight over Peppa's head. Oh dear. Wah! George feels a bit left out. Sorry, George, says Peppa, you can't play tennis. We only have 2 rackets. George can be the ball boy, cheers Susie. Being a ball boy is a very important job, George, says Peppa. Peppa and Susie are having lots of fun, but they keep missing the ball. Ball boy, they shout together. Oof, oof. George is not having fun. He keeps running to get the ball and he is very tired. Hello everyone, cries Peppa when her friends arrive. We're playing tennis. Can we play too? asks Danny Dog. There aren't enough rackets, replies Susie Sheep. Let's play football then, says Danny Dog. Football, hooray! Everyone cheers. That's a much better idea. Now they can all play. We can play girls against boys, says Peppa. Each team needs a goalkeeper, says Danny Dog. Me, shouts Pedro Pony. Me, cries Rebecca Rabbit. Pedro Pony and Rebecca Rabbit decide to be the goalkeepers. The boys' team will start, says Danny Dog. Richard Rabbit gets the ball and runs very fast right by Peppa Pig, Susie Sheep and Candy Cat and straight up to the... Goal! Cry Danny and Pedro together as Richard Rabbit kicks the ball straight past Rebecca Rabbit and into the net. The boy is a winner, cheers Danny Dog. That's not fair. We weren't ready, moans Peppa. Rebecca Rabbit picks up the ball and runs. Hey, shouts Danny Dog, that's cheating. You can't hold the ball. Yes, I can, says Rebecca. I'm the goalkeeper. Rebecca throws the ball into the goal, straight past Pedro Pony. Goal! She cries. That goal is not allowed, says Pedro. Yes, it is, says Peppa. No, it isn't, barks Danny. Oh, what a lot of noise, snorts Daddy Pig. I'll be the referee. The next team to get a goal will win the game. Richard Rabbit and George run off with the football while everyone is still talking. Where's the ball? asks Peppa. But it is too late. Richard Rabbit kicks the ball straight into the goal, past Pedro Pony. Hooray! The boys win, cries Danny. Football is a silly game, sighs Peppa, disappointed. Just a moment, says Daddy Pig. The boys scored in their own goal. That means the girls win. Really? gasp all the girls. Hooray! Football is a great game, cheers Peppa. Ha ha ha, everyone laughs. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Peppa's first sleepover. How exciting! I think she's going to Zoe Zebra's house. She's got her bag and her teddy. Peppa is going to her very first sleepover at Zoe Zebra's house. Welcome to my sleepover, Zoe says. I'll pick you up in the morning, Mummy Pig says to Peppa with a kiss. Rebecca Rabbit, Susie Sheep and Emily Elephant are already here. I've got my teddy, Peppa says. Zoe has her monkey, Rebecca has her carrot, Susie has her owl and Emily has her frog. Don't stay up too late, girls, and don't be too loud. Daddy Zebra has to get up early to deliver the post, Mummy Zebra says as she turns out the lights. Zoe's baby twin sisters Zuzu and Zaza want to join the sleepover too. Sleepovers are for big girls only, Zoe says. The twins begin to cry. They're so sweet and little, Peppa says. Can they stay? Rebecca asks. Okay, Zoe says to the twins, but you must not fall asleep. What should we do first? Susie asks. I'm having piano lessons. Listen. Zoe starts to pound on the keys. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Mummy Zebra has woken up. Oh, shh! You must be quiet so Daddy Zebra can sleep. Now, into your sleeping bags, please. What do we do now? Peppa asks. At sleepovers, there's always a midnight feast, Zoe says. It's when we eat things, Susie said. In a hushed voice. In secret. Shh, Zoe says as she leads the girls to the kitchen. They each grab some delicious fruit, perfect for a midnight feast. The floorboard creaks. Oh no, will Mummy hear them? Oh no, Mummy Zebra has woken up. You'll wake Daddy Zebra. Now, who knows a bedtime story? The girls take turns. Once upon a time there was a little fairy, Susie begins, and she lived in the forest. Peppa continues, and the fairy met a big monster who went, "Rawr," Emily says with a big elephant trumpet noise. Oh dear, the noise has woken up Daddy Zebra. Sorry, Daddy, Zoe says. There was a story about a fairy and a scary monster. And we want to know what happens next, Peppa says. Very well, Daddy Zebra sighs. The monster lifted up his great, big, hairy paws and walked along on his great, big, hairy feet. And he sang, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are." Daddy Zebra sings gently as he plays the piano. Daddy Zebra's song has sent everyone to sleep. Good night, Peppa. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. George's first day at playgroup. How exciting! Today is George's first day at playgroup. Isn't George too small for playgroup? Asks Peppa. You can look after him, says Daddy Pig. Peppa isn't sure she wants George at her playgroup, but she likes the idea of looking after him. George looks excited. Are you sure George is big enough? Peppa asks when they arrive. Yes, he'll be fine, replies Daddy Pig. Okay, he can come, says Peppa. She holds onto George's hand. Snorts George, jumping up and down. Is he allowed to take Mr. Dinosaur to playgroup? I hope so. Here is Madame Gazelle, Peppa's playgroup teacher. She looks after Peppa and her friends. Madame Gazelle tells the children that George is coming to play. The children are all very excited about meeting Peppa's little brother. This is my little brother George, cries Peppa. Grrr, dinosaur, growls George. Hee hee hee, everyone laughs. I wish I had a little brother like George, bawls Susie Sheep. George shakes his toy. Mr. Dinosaur at Madame Gazelle. Grrr, dinosaur. Ah! Really scary, laughs Madame Gazelle. Peppa is proud of George making everyone laugh. George is my little brother. He's brilliant, she says. Shall we show George how we paint pictures? Madame Gazelle asks the children. George is not very good at painting, says Peppa, but I can show him how to paint a flower. Watch me, George, snorts Peppa. First, you paint a big circle. Peppa carefully dips her brush into a pot of pink paint and draws a big pink circle right in the middle of her paper. That was a good circle, Peppa. George draws a big green circle. No, George, that's the wrong colour, snorts Peppa. Watch me. Peppa makes yellow petal shapes, and George paints a green zigzag. George, that's the wrong shape, says Peppa. I think George has his own idea. What do you think he might paint? Peppa admires her flower painting. Perfect, she says happily. George is still painting. Instead of a stalk and leaves, he has painted another circle with 5 lines sticking out from it. You are doing it all wrong, says Peppa. I don't think so. I think I have an idea what George might be painting. I was right. Look what he's painted. I've painted a flower, says Peppa. Very good, Peppa, smiles Madame Gazelle. And look, George has painted a dinosaur. Madame Gazelle sticks Peppa and George's pictures on the wall. Now it's time to go home. What will you paint next time, George? Asks Madame Gazelle. Dinosaur, grrr, giggles George. Hee hee hee, everyone laughs. I think George has had a fantastic day at playgroup. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Peppa Pig's family computer. Mummy Pig is working on the family computer. She's typing very fast. Mummy Pig has a lot of important work to do today. Daddy Pig is in the kitchen making soup for lunch. Daddy, Peppa asks, can we go and watch Mummy on the computer, please? Yes, as long as you don't disturb her, Daddy Pig says. Mummy, Peppa asks, can George and I sit on your lap and watch you work? Yes, as long as you both sit quietly, Mummy Pig agrees. About a minute later, Peppa asks, can we play the Happy Mrs. Chicken game on the computer? Mummy Pig says, we can play Happy Mrs. Chicken later, but now I have to work. Another minute later, Peppa asks, Mummy, can we help you work? Peppa taps away at the computer like Mummy Pig. No, Peppa, Mummy says, you mustn't touch the computer whilst I'm working. Yes, George, Peppa says in a bossy voice, you mustn't do this. Peppa taps away again and the computer flashes. Peppa, stop, Mummy Pig says. Sorry, Mummy, Peppa says. I was just showing George what not to do. That computer doesn't look very happy. Uh-oh. Daddy Pig, Mummy calls. Can you mend the computer whilst I finish the lunch? Daddy Pig says. I'm not very good with these things. Daddy Pig pushes a button. Daddy Pig pushes another button. Maybe if I switch it off and switch it on again. Whir, buzz, whir. That does not sound good. Daddy Pig has mended the computer. Hooray, Daddy! Shouts Peppa. She and George jump up and down. Yes, Daddy Pig smiles. I am a bit of an expert at these things. Daddy, Peppa asks, can we play that computer game, Happy Mrs. Chicken? Mummy said we can play it later, Peppa says. And now it is later. Well, Daddy Pig thinks for a moment. OK then. Daddy Pig starts the Happy Mrs. Chicken game. Ho, ho, ho. Daddy Pig laughs as Peppa and George play Happy Mrs. Chicken. Mummy Pig says as she comes into the room. I see the computer is working again. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Peppa and the new baby. Is Mummy Pig having a new baby? How exciting! One day when Peppa was only little, Granny and Grandpa Pig came to babysit. Ganky egg, Ganka egg, cried Peppa. She loved it when Granny and Grandpa Pig looked after her. They had so much fun, playing with all the toys, eating yummy food and reading lots of stories. Again, said Peppa, giving her favourite book to Grandpa Pig. Peas. Well done for saying please, Peppa. At bedtime, Granny Pig told Peppa she was going to have a little brother soon. And being a big sister is a very important job, added Grandpa Pig. Ooh, Peppa seems excited. Peppa was very excited to be a big sister. That night she dreamed of all the fun things that she would do with the new baby. The next morning, Mummy and Daddy Pig arrived home with a little baby. Hello, Peppa, said Mummy Pig, smiling. This is your new baby brother, George. Peppa looked at George and giggled. Baby George, she said proudly, and then she toddled off. When Peppa came back, she had her ball with her. She bounced it towards George. Boing, boing. But baby George didn't move. He just stayed still. That's very lovely of you, Peppa, said Daddy Pig, but baby George is a bit too little to play with a ball. Oh, said Peppa. Peppa went to the kitchen and came back with a banana. She held it out to George. Nana, she said. That's kind, Peppa. But baby George didn't take the banana. Oh, that's very sweet of you, Peppa, said Mummy Pig. But I'm afraid baby George is a little bit too little to eat a banana. Oh, says Peppa. Peppa held her big cup out to baby George. Drink. But baby George didn't take the cup. That's very kind, Peppa, said Granny Pig. But baby George is a little bit too little for your water cup. Peppa wondered what big sisters did to help their baby brothers. Cuddle, she said, holding out her arms. Oh, I'm sure George would love a cuddle from his big sister, said Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig gently laid baby George on Peppa's lap, and she looked at him. If he couldn't play, eat, or drink water, what could a baby brother do? Baby George burped. Oh, Peppa giggled. Hee hee. George was very funny. Story? Peppa asked George. Great idea, Peppa, said Grandpa Pig. Why don't you choose one for him? Peppa found a book about dinosaurs and pretended to read it to George. Blah, 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 blah. Dinosaur, grrr. She closed the book. Again. What a lovely story, said Daddy Pig. Isn't your big sister the best ever, George? Beep. George burped. Peppa giggled. Hee hee. George was the best baby ever. Peppa loves baby George. Everyone loves baby George. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. George and the Noisy Baby. Peppa and George's family are having a sleepover at Cousin Chloe's house. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig are looking forward to an early night. They've had a long journey. Hello, cries Cousin Chloe. Hello, shouts Auntie Pig. Hello, booms Uncle Pig. Everyone makes a lot of noise in Cousin Chloe's house. They're a very noisy family. First we'll put baby Alexander to bed, says Auntie Pig. This is his bedroom. Auntie Pig turns up baby Alexander's musical mobile. Alexander likes noise, she explains. It sends him to sleep. Peppa and George are staying in Cousin Chloe's bedroom. They are very excited. Night, night, snorts Peppa. Soon everyone is tucked up in their beds, fast asleep. Peppa and George don't look very tired. You must get to bed, little piggies. Where? Baby Alexander is awake. Everyone is awake now. Uncle Pig tries to vacuum. Auntie Pig tries playing the trumpet. Noise is the best way to get baby Alexander to sleep, she says. Daddy Pig has a quieter idea. When George was a baby, we used to put him in his pram and wheel him round the house, he says. Dad always sent him to sleep. Daddy Pig pushes baby Alexander in his pram. He only has to go round the house 50 times. My gosh, Daddy Pig, you must be tired. Whew. Good, he puffs at last. Baby Alexander is asleep. Daddy Pig and baby Alexander are ready to come inside. Auntie Pig switches the alarm back on. Oh, yawn, says George. George, cries Daddy Pig, what are you doing up? Oh, yawn, yawns George. Noisy. I think George can't sleep with all that noise. Daddy Pig takes George and baby Alexander back up to bed. He's about to turn the light off when... Wah! Uh-oh, gasps George. Baby Alexander is awake again. It is very noisy. Daddy Pig decides to drive baby Alexander around in the car. Don't forget to turn off the alarm, shouts Auntie Pig. Daddy Pig forgets to turn off the alarm. Oh no! The noisy house wakes everyone up. Miss Rabbit zooms across in her rescue helicopter. I wonder if she can help. Is everyone all right down there? Yells Miss Rabbit. Yes, thank you, bellows Uncle Pig. The alarm has worked. Baby Alexander is fast asleep, and it's all down to my noisy daddy, giggles Peppa. Well, it worked in the end, Daddy Pig. You got him to sleep. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Baby Alexander. Today, Peppa and George's cousins are coming to visit. Wah, wah! Baby Alexander makes a lot of noise. Hello, Peppa. Hello, George. Cousin Chloe shouts over. Her brother's crying. Wah! Why don't you feed him, Peppa? Suggests Auntie Pig. Here you are, says Peppa, holding out the spoon. But baby Alexander turns his head away. I don't think he likes that very much, Peppa. Pretend the spoon is an aeroplane, says Auntie Pig. Here comes the aeroplane, cries Peppa. Whoosh. Hooray! Baby Alexander has swallowed a mouthful. Well done, Peppa, good girl. At bath time, Peppa says, Can you say dinosaur? Goo goo, says baby Alexander. He still can't talk, Peppa, says Cousin Chloe. He will soon, replies Peppa. Then you will know what he wants. Goo goo. Look how much he loves playing with that dinosaur. Goo goo. Later they take baby Alexander out in his buggy. This is the sky, says Peppa. Can you say sky? Goo goo, says baby Alexander. The sky is where the rain comes from. Can you say rain? Continues Peppa. Rain is good for making muddy puddles, Peppa explains. I love jumping up and down in muddy puddles. Puddles, says baby Alexander. Wow! Oh, everyone gasps. Alexander has said his first word, exclaims Auntie Pig. Puddles! They are so proud of baby Alexander. Hooray, puddles! Everyone shouts together. And I taught him to say that, says Peppa proudly. Puddles, says baby Alexander. Ha ha ha, he, what a clever boy. The dentist trip. Every morning, Peppa and George brush their teeth. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Well done, Peppa and George. I think Dinosaur wants to brush his teeth too. George, are your teeth as clean as mine? Peppa asked, showing off her clean white teeth. You both have lovely clean teeth. I'm sure the dentist will be very happy, calls out Daddy Pig. Later that day, Peppa and George are at the dentist waiting for their checkup. It's George's first visit. Peppa, George, the dentist will see you now, says Miss Rabbit, the nurse. Hooray! They both cheer. This is Dr. Elephant, the dentist. Who's first? He asks. I'm first, replies Pep. I am a big girl. Watch me, George. Open wide, please, orders Dr. Elephant softly. Ah. Peppa opens her mouth as wide as she possibly can. Let's take a look, says the dentist, checking Peppa's teeth with a mirror. They do look clean, Peppa. Good girl. There, all done. What lovely clean teeth, cheers Dr. Elephant. Now you can have a special drink. Gargle. Peppa spits the pink liquid out into the sink, and it's George's turn next. George does not want it to be his turn, so the dentist lets him hold Mr. Dinosaur. All done. You have very strong, clean teeth, George, smiles Dr. Elephant. But wait, what is this? Cries Dr. Elephant. George has clean teeth, but this young dinosaur's teeth are very dirty. Dinosaur, you need to brush your teeth. The water jet, please, Miss Rabbit, orders the dentist. He uses the water to clean Mr. Dinosaur's teeth. Slosh, slosh, slosh. Pink, cries George, picking up a glass. That's right, George, says the dentist. Mr. Dinosaur needs some special pink drink. He's enjoying that. Giggle, giggle. Gosh, what shiny teeth you have, Mr. Dinosaur cries. Dinosaur, grrr, snorts George. George loves Mr. Dinosaur, especially now that he has nice clean teeth. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Peppa Pig Better Together. So we've got a storybook and 10 figurines. Should we have a look? So first we've got to have Peppa Pig. Here she is in her nice red coat. She looks happy. She's playing with all of her friends. And next we've got to do little George Pig. He looks like he's got a swimming costume on. Is he going swimming, do you think? And then we've got, Freddy Fox. Stand him up by here. And we've got Emily Elephant. Look at her big long trunk. And of course, if we've got Emily, we have to do Edmund Elephant next. He's got a matching swimsuit to George. Do we think they're both going swimming? And we've got Penny the polar bear. Got glasses on. I like them. And we've got Wendy the wolf. She's quite new. I like Wendy. And we've got, of course, Susie Sheep. That's Peppa's best friend. And we've got, Molly Mole. She's got glasses too. They're like twins. And the last one, we've got Candy Cat. She looks happy as well. She wants to join all of her friends. So I'll pop these all out by here, get them out the way. And let's read the story. Oh, look, there's Peppa already. We'll give a little sneak there. So, the fun fair is in town. Peppa Pig and George and Edmund Elephant are playing games and trying to win prizes. George won a balloon with a tiger on it, so that's why George has got a funny costume on. And Edmund, because they're in the circus. And Peppa's got her red dress, of course she has. Wendy Wolf and Emily Elephant ride the Ferris wheel. There's something for everyone at the fun fair. They look like they're having a great time on there.
Peppa and Susie Sheep are having a play date. After playing dress up and riding their bikes, they're enjoying some crafts. Wow, there's some good pictures. The playground is always busy. Wendy and Candy Cat are passing a ball. Freddy Fox has climbed the top of a very high slide. Should we put Freddy down the slide? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whee! Bump, and he landed on the ground. Should we put Susie Sheep on here? Ready? Is she going? Whee! Oh, Molly Mole. Okay, you can have a turn. Ready? Whee! Peppa has invited Susie and Emily for a sleepover. Everyone has their favourite toy. Peppa and her teddy bear. Emily has her frog. And Susie has her owl. Susie, you get to bed. And Emily, you get to bed. And Peppa, where's Peppa? She's being cheeky and she's still playing with her teddy bear. Go to bed, Peppa. You're going to be very tired in the morning. Peppa and Susie put on their raincoats and boots to go outside. They play in puddles and admire the pretty rainbow. Peppa waits for the puddles to become muddy. She loves jumping in muddy puddles. Okay, Peppa, have a little go. Ready? She's jumping up in the puddles. And Susie.
Peppa Pig and the Tooth Fairy. Peppa and George are eating their favourite food, spaghetti. Slip, sloop. They're so happy. They look like they love spaghetti. Suddenly something falls out onto Peppa's plate. What is that? Peppa cries. It's your tooth, laughs Daddy Pig. Wow, how exciting. Peppa's lost her first tooth. If you put the tooth under your pillow tonight, the Tooth Fairy will pay you a visit. She will take the tooth and leave you a shiny coin, says Mummy Pig. Peppa looks a bit worried. Peppa, there's nothing to be worried about. Good night, Peppa. Good night, George, says Mummy Pig. Good night, my little piggies, grunts Daddy Pig. Peppa puts her tooth under the pillow for the Tooth Fairy. Let's stay awake all night and see the Tooth Fairy, says Peppa. Snort, says George. Snort, George giggles. George, where's the Tooth Fairy? asks Peppa. She's very late. But George is so tired he's fallen fast asleep. George, you don't want to miss the Tooth Fairy. I'm not going to go to sleep. Snores Peppa. When everything is quiet, something appears at the window. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at that Tooth Fairy. She's carrying a big shiny coin. The Tooth Fairy has arrived, but Peppa is fast asleep. The fairy pushes a shiny coin under the pillow and takes Peppa's tiny tooth. That must be a nice, clean, shiny tooth. Look how happy the Tooth Fairy is. Peppa, George, wake up, it's morning, says Mummy Pig brightly. Did the Tooth Fairy come? Daddy Pig asks. No, says Peppa sadly. I think Peppa's going to have a nice surprise. Let's look under your pillow, says Daddy Pig. Look, Peppa, the Tooth Fairy has been and she's left you a coin. Hooray! Hee hee hee, Peppa laughs. Grunt. Next time I will stay awake and I will see the Tooth Fairy. Hee hee. Peppa, I think the Tooth Fairy only comes when you're fast asleep. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Peppa loves unicorns and mermaids. It was a very exciting day for Peppa and her friends. Penny Polar Bear was having a magical creatures party, and everyone from playgroup was invited. What are you going to dress up as? Madame Gazelle asks the children. Magical flying aliens, blobbity blob blob. Roar, monster. A magical penguin princess, twinkle twinkle. Magical witches, hee hee hee. Monster, grrr. Peppa and Susie Sheep really wanted to dress up as the same magical creature. Unicorns have sparkly horns and can fly, and they have magical powers, says Susie. Mermaids have sparkly tails, they breathe underwater, and they have magical powers too, said Peppa. How are we going to choose, said Susie. We need to find out which one is more magical, says Peppa. Madame Gazelle, said Susie, which creature is the most magical? Is it unicorns or is it mermaids, said Peppa. Well, I don't think one creature is more magical than the other, Madame Gazelle replied. Unicorns and mermaids are both very magical. Then Madame Gazelle turned to speak to everyone. Magic is very special, children, she said. You can find magic everywhere. Rebecca Rabbit found a carrot. I'm going to dress up as a magical carrot for Penny's party, she said. How lovely, Rebecca, said Madame Gazelle. Everyone giggled. Rebecca loves carrots. When it was time to go inside, Susie and Peppa still weren't sure what to dress up as. Maybe you're right, and we should dress up as unicorns, said Peppa. No, maybe you're right, and we should dress up as a mermaid, said Susie. Ding, ding! The playgroup bell rang, and it was time to go home and get dressed. I can't wait to see what they dress up as. Susie will be so happy I'm dressing up as a magical unicorn, said Peppa on her way home. She thinks unicorns are very, very magical creatures. At home, Peppa was just coming down the stairs when she realised she'd forgotten something. My backpack! She rushed to get it. Ready now, she said. What a lovely unicorn you are, said Daddy Pig. Meanwhile, Susie was at home getting dressed up too. Peppa will be so happy I'm a magical mermaid, she said. She thinks mermaids are very, very magical creatures. What a lovely mermaid you are, Susie, said Mummy Sheep. Now don't forget your backpack. Oh yes, thank you, Mummy, said Susie. Wow, Susie looks fantastic. Happy birthday, Penny, said Peppa when she arrived at the party. I love your magical penguin princess costume. Thank you, said Penny. I have some more special magic to show you later. I hope you enjoy my party. I will, said Peppa. Then Susie arrived. Oh, you're a mermaid, said Peppa. And you're a unicorn, said Susie. Wait here, said Peppa. Back in a moment, said Susie. Look at their bags. They've both got sparkly bags. Peppa and Susie raced back to each other. Oh, now you're a unicorn, said Peppa. And you're a mermaid, said Susie. They had both changed their costumes. Suddenly the two friends had an idea. They went to get changed together. Oh, I wonder what their idea is. When Peppa and Susie reappeared, they were mermicorns. Oh my gosh, look at their costumes. They squealed, delighted with themselves. They had each put on a costume mixture of their mermaid and unicorn costumes. The two mermicorns and all the other magical creatures had lots of fun at Penny's party. Splish splosh. They splashed in the mermaid pool. They visited the unicorn cafe. And they rode on the narwhals. And now we have some magical music from Madame Gazelle and the Rocking Gazelles, announced Dr. Polar Bear. It was time for some dancing. All the magical creatures danced together. It was lots and lots of fun. Mermicorns love music, said Peppa, and they love dancing, said Susie. When the band finished, Madame Gazelle came over to Peppa and Susie. I see you decided to dress up as mermicorns, she said. Yes, said Peppa and Susie. How magical, said Madame Gazelle. I don't think it really mattered which magical creature you dressed up as. Do you know why? Peppa and Susie shook their heads. It's because the most magical thing of all is your friendship, said Madame Gazelle. Oh, look how happy they are. Back on the stage, Madame Gazelle picked up the microphone. Stay magical, children, she cheered. And with that, Penny the Penguin Princess pointed her magic wand at the stage. There was a puff of smoke and... ta-da! Madame Gazelle magically disappeared. Wow! Amazing! Everyone cheered. Madame Gazelle is magical, and so are you, Penny. Your party is the most magical party ever, Penny. Thank you, said Peppa. Thanks, Peppa, said Penny. They've had a wonderful party. Peppa and Susie love being magical unicorn friends. Peppa and Susie love being magical mermicorn friends. Everyone loves magical mermicorn. Everyone loves magical mermicorn friends. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.
The fancy dress party. Peppa and George are having a fancy dress party and all their friends are invited. Peppa is dressed as a fairy princess and George is a dinosaur. All the guests are arriving. Rebecca Rabbit is dressed as a carrot and Susie Sheep has come as a nurse. Hello, Susie, says Daddy Pig. Have you just come from the hospital? Oh, Daddy, I don't think she's a real nurse. I'm not a real nurse, says Susie Sheep. It's just pretend. Hello, Susie, says Peppa. I am Princess Peppa, and you must bow when you speak to me. Susie Sheep bows. Woof, woof, I am a pirate. Shiver me timbers, says Danny Dog. Nay, I'm a clown, says Pedro, tooting his horn. Rebecca, why are you dressed as a carrot? Danny asks. Because I like carrots, says Rebecca. George does his best dinosaur roar and scares everybody. Rawr! Oh, George, you do look scary. Peppa is playing by herself. She pretends the mirror is magic. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? You are, Peppa, she giggles. You do look very cool, Peppa. It's time to judge the fancy dress competition. As it's Peppa's party, says Daddy Pig, she can be the judge and decide who has the best costume. The guests show off their outfits. I'm a pirate, shiver me timbers, says Danny Dog. I am a nurse who makes people better, says Susie Sheep. Candy Cat waves her wand at Peppa. I'm a witch and I can turn you into a frog, she says. Well, I'm a fairy princess and I can turn you into a frog, cries Peppa. It is time to announce the winner. Everyone's costume is very good, says Peppa. But the winner is me. Oh, Peppa, you can't pick yourself. You're the judge, whispers Mummy Pig. Oh, can't I? Asks Peppa. You have to pick another winner, Mummy Pig says quietly. Okay, the carrot wins, says Peppa. Hooray! Rebecca Rabbit has won the fancy dress competition. Thank you, Rebecca says. Peppa loves fancy dress parties. Everyone loves fancy dress parties. The naughty tortoise. It's autumn and Tiddles the tortoise is going to sleep for the winter. But Tiddles isn't sleepy, so he's run away and climbed a tree. How are we going to rescue him? Asks Peppa. I'll ring for the fire brigade, replies Dr. Hamster. Stand clear, shouts Mummy Elephant when the fire engine arrives. She puts the ladder against the tree and Mummy Cow starts to climb up towards Tiddles. Nee-naw, nee-naw. Mummy Cow reaches the top of the ladder, but Tiddles climbs higher. Come here, you little pickle, calls Mummy Cow. Be careful, Mummy Cow, shouts Mummy Elephant. But Mummy Cow climbs onto a branch and gets stuck. Oh no! Cows are not very good at climbing trees. Hang on, cries Mummy Elephant. I'm coming up. Mummy Elephant climbs onto a different branch and she gets stuck too. Elephants are not very good at climbing trees either. Oh dear, Mummy Elephant, I don't think you should have done that. What are we going to do now? Asks Peppa. I'll call another rescue service, says Dr. Hamster. Grandad Dog's breakdown truck. Says Grandad Dog when he arrives. How do you get tortoises out of trees? Shall I climb up? Yes, please, replies Dr. Hamster. Grandad Dog climbs up on the first branch in the tree. Oh, says Grandad Dog, I seem to be stuck. Dogs are not very good at climbing trees either. Now what are we going to do? Asks Peppa. We'll have to call the highest rescue service in the land, replies Dr. Hamster. Miss Rabbit arrives in her rescue helicopter. Hello, everyone, she calls down. Now let's rescue the tortoise. Miss Rabbit puts her helicopter on autopilot and climbs down the ladder to the tree. Got you, you little rascal, says Miss Rabbit, reaching out and grabbing Tiddles from the top of the tree. Then she carries him safely down to the ground. Oh, well done, Miss Rabbit. Thank you for saving my Tiddles, Miss Rabbit, says Dr. Hamster. No problem, replies Miss Rabbit. Then she climbs back up the ladder to rescue Mummy Elephant, Mummy Cow, and Grandad Dog. Thank you for saving us too, they cry. Just doing my job, replies Mummy Rabbit. What a naughty tortoise you are, Dr. Hamster says. Tiddles just yawns. Oh, good, now you're sleepy, says Dr. Hamster. Back in your box you go. Sleep well, Tiddles, cries Peppa. Tiddles has gone to sleep for the winter and will wake up again in the springtime. Shh, whispers Peppa. Everyone giggles very quietly. Good night, Tiddles. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.
So let's have a look and learn with Peppa. Tip, tip, and sit, sip. There's Peppa and she's feeding Goldie the fish, and we've got Peppa here to help us. We're going to try and teach Peppa some new words today. What's Peppa doing with the food? Tip, tip. Peppa's tipping the food into for Goldie the fish. Tip, tip. Did you get that, Peppa? Have a look. Tip, tip. Well done. Nip. Oh no! Poor Grandad Pig, look what's happened. Nip. That crab has nipped poor Grandad Pig.
It, sit. Are Peppa and George sitting down to drink their drink? Sip, sip. Good girl, Peppa. Have a big sip of your drink. Nap. All the boys and girls are tired, so they're having a nap. Shh, good night, Peppa. Nap. I spy with Peppa. What can you see that starts with the sounds s, a, or t? Let's start with have a look, Peppa. What can you spot? Peppa's found the sun. And she's found a spade. And she's found a snake. Good girl, Peppa. Let's try a. Apple. I think that's it. What about t? She's spotted it. Oh, t for train. Oh, t for teapot. Well done, Peppa. Good girl. Let's read another story. Tap. Good girl, Peppa. Put the tap on to brush your teeth. Tip. The poor dinosaur's tipping over. Peppa, you try this one. Sit. All the mummies and daddies and Peppa and George are sitting down. Sit. Well done, Peppa. Sit. The dinosaur's sitting down, waiting to have his teeth cleaned. Good boy, dinosaur. Pit. Pat. Sit, pit, pat. Tip. Is George tipping the drink into the dinosaur's mouth? Tip. And the dinosaur's having a sip. Peppa goes swimming. It's a lovely sunny day and Peppa and her family are at the swimming pool. Peppa, George, let Daddy put on your armband, snorts Mummy Pig. Today is George's first time at the pool and he's a little bit scared of getting in. Why don't you just put one foot in the water, suggests Daddy Pig. Maybe George should try both feet at the same time, says Mummy Pig. Look how frightened George looks. There's nothing to be scared of, George. You'll be just fine. Splash! Mummy Pig convinces George to jump into the water and he loves it. Oh, George, well done. Grunt, hee hee. Snort, shouts George happily. Ho ho, well done, George, snorts Daddy Pig. Here is Rebecca Rabbit with her brother, Richard, and her mummy. Hello, everyone, cries Rebecca. Squeak, squeak, says Richard. Richard, hold on to this float and you can practice kicking your legs, says Mummy Pig. George, would you like to try kicking your legs? asks Mummy Pig. Hee hee, float, snort, giggles George. Ho ho, very good, laughs Daddy Pig. But please try not to splash. Big children don't splash, adds Peppa. Big children are very good at swimming, snorts Peppa. When George and Richard are older, they'll be able to swim like us, won't they, Rebecca? Yes, says Rebecca as she watches the boys kick in. Peppa and Rebecca race each other up and down the pool with their armbands on. They're having lots of fun swimming and splashing in the water. Oops! Richard has dropped his toy watering can into the pool. Mummy, cries Richard. Sorry, Richard, I can't reach it. It's too far down, says Mummy Rabbit. Luckily, Daddy Pig is an excellent swimmer. He takes off his glasses and dives down to get it. Ho, ho, there you go, snorts Daddy Pig. Squeak, squeak, says Richard. Well done, Daddy, smiles Mummy Pig. Oh, I don't think Daddy's going to like that very much. What's Richard doing? Oh dear, now Richard is soaking Daddy Pig with a watering can. What a naughty rabbit! Hee hee hee! George thinks it's hilarious. Everyone has a wonderful day at the pool. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Peppa goes camping. Today, Peppa and George are very excited. They are going on holiday. Daddy Pig has a surprise. Honk honk! It's a camper van, grunts Daddy Pig. Wow, gasp Peppa and George. We are going on holiday, sings Peppa. We're going on holiday in a camper van. Says Daddy Pig, looking at the map. Daddy Pig, cries Mummy, are we lost? Well, begins Daddy Pig. Yes. Grandad Dog and Danny Dog arrive. Hello, calls out Peppa, we're lost. Lost? asked Grandad Dog, confused. Is your sat-nav broken? Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig don't know what a sat-nav is. A sat-nav is a computer that helps you find your way, explains Grandad Dog. Welcome to the car of the future, bleeps the sat-nav. Can you tell us where to go? asks Peppa. Go straight, replies the sat-nav. Daddy Pig thanks Grandad Dog and the family continue on their way. We're going on holiday, sings Peppa. We're going on holiday in a camper van. Suddenly the camper van is low on oil, but Daddy Pig can't find the engine. Where's it gone? Mummy Sheep and Susie Sheep arrive in their car. Hello, Susie, cries Peppa. We've lost our engine. Lost your engine? replies Mummy Sheep. I don't know a thing about engines, says Mummy Sheep, but I'll have a look. I'm probably wrong, but this looks like an engine, says Mummy Sheep, lifting the boot. Oh, well spotted, Mummy Sheep, gasps Daddy Pig, pouring oil into the engine. Glug, glug. Daddy Pig thanks Mummy Sheep and the family are off again. Are we nearly there yet? asks Peppa, sighing. Just up the next hill, says the sat-nav. You have reached your destination, says the sat-nav when they get to the top of a steep hill. Hooray! Everyone cheers. Time for bed, says Mummy Pig. Peppa and George put on their pyjamas. But where will we sleep? asks Peppa. Mummy Pig and I will sleep on this bed, says Daddy Pig, pressing a button. Ta-da! A lovely big bed appears in the room. And you two will sleep upstairs like you always do, says Mummy Pig. Watch this, says Daddy Pig, pressing another button. Click! Suddenly the camper van's roof lifts up and a bunk bed appears. Daddy Pig tucks Peppa and George into bed. The camper van is just like our little house, says Peppa. Good night, everyone, says the sat-nav. Sleep well. Wow, they're going to have so much fun when they go camping. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.